Hi, my name is Angela Michelle, and I am an MSW student here at Loma Linda University. And I am now doing my presentation for Wholeness. It's the application where we're to create a 15-minute presentation outlining a wholeness-centered plan for ourselves. And this is perfect timing, coming to the end of the semester, and really been thinking about this summer and making plans that I could pivot from. So this was a really great exercise, and I even did some, research to really make sure I get this embedded. Um, so I'm going to just quickly go through the questions, and I like to keep this short as I've gone on way too long in my other presentations. So it has to include for self-care intentionality of biological, and biological being physical, biological being, okay, medical. I need to definitely follow up on a lot of medical issues that I put to the side this semester. It's really hard to get those appointments in, particularly when they're out of the area. But I'm going to do that and exercise every day. I did start doing that again, and definitely could see the difference when I don't put weights on the side of my desk and just, how many times a day? 3 times a day. Just grab it, intense exercise. Even found it useful for my DBT class to ward off stress and things like that. So I'm going to keep it simple, just exercise, doctor appointments. Psychological, I'm going to get back into therapy, more specifically DBT therapy. Um, I like DBT because my goal is actually more about acceptance, radical acceptance, and finding a middle ground with everything and being okay with it. At this stage in my life, I think that's the way to go. And I'll comment a little bit more on that um, later in spirituality. So yeah, it's definitely doing DBT, a group. And social, I've left as two things, planned and serendipity. Serendipity to what I find in the dormitory, everybody is just so busy and with varying times. And when I say, come on, everybody, I've made dinner, come sit and join me in the lounge. And that seems to be the best bet to get everybody together. Or like on Friday evenings, there is a prayer meditation group that meets for 30 minutes, and those have been some of the most meaningful gatherings here. So definitely serendipity and doing more of that this summer. When I will not be in class and but I will be here doing work, a lot of work, volunteer work, and also planning for next summer very carefully because I'm using this summer to pivot for some work opportunities that I'm thinking about and volunteer opportunities. So the social also entails that I'm going back east to see my friends who are my family and my family who are my friends. And I am so looking forward to that. My adult son is going to join me. We have some issues going on with family that I found out today is actually going through open heart surgery. And yeah, every day I'm starting to see we're not really promised. And these things actually have, as I age and have gone through like a great deal of, losing friends and family, um, it's become more meaningful. So anyway, so with that being said, my plan is for every day, since I'm not in class, I will be working. I've already planned for after this semester, like at the beginning of next week, 3 phone calls to all my friends back east early in the morning to catch up and make plans for the summer, which I am really looking forward to. So every day I have to get in touch with a new and old friend, whether by text, whether by call, whether by email. I just cannot not see my friends and family any longer. It's just too hard. And yeah, it's also interesting how when you let go of things that don't work, people, places, and things, how much more room there is for people, places, and things that are most meaningful, and they become deeper. Economic, just get my finances for the current and future years, God willing, in order. Actually overturn it and start all over again. Emotional. Oh, Marsha Linehan. I'm going to read her memoir this summer. Um, I have my list for right after Friday when the semester is done to order a bunch of books, and her memoir is on the number one on my list, as with the economic book that I've been talking about in this class. Um, Basically emotional because she gives like these really amazing DBT practices on opposite action, and it really helps in terms of stress and sadness and anxiety, to have her skills be so embedded that they become second nature. And she is a fascinating person. She's the creator of DBT and basically gave the handbook without a copyright to everybody. So um, I'd love to meet her or see her speak someday. She's at the University of Washington Emeritus. Anyway, spiritual health, I'm going to put to last because that's going to be my big focus. Environmental responsibility is composting, gardening, or planting. We've decided, I spoke to my accountable person that has to keep me accountable with all of this. Um, I'm going to do the composting since I love doing composting, and all that coffee grind and tea has made some amazing gardens in the past for me. And I've just decided, we need to do this at the dorm, even if we do little um, container gardens, and maybe even if the dorm doesn't want it, somebody else on campus will want it. So composting, gardening, oh, I would love to take a class, but I'm realistic, maybe next year on that. So spiritual is really where I want the focus to be, because when I did my other work yesterday, for, you know, oh, what was it? The wholeness, health, and wellness. I had neglected to put in that the further learning that I need is with spiritual learning, and every day doing Bible reading, Bible study. So I've decided, okay, if I don't find the group, because it's really hard to find and stick with a group given school schedule, I have a study Bible, a wonderful one, and I have another Bible that's themed, and between the two of them together, um, I could create my own program. And what I decided is I am using the Blue Zone book. I love this book. I'm here because of this book. And I found it really interesting. If you go online, I would recommend they give you a week of things, goals to do, activities for week 1, week 2, week 3, first month, second month, 3 months, 6 month, and things like what I always do. Don't sit in front of the screen. Don't eat and sit in front of the screen. Okay. 5 Blue Zone meals this week, which I've kind of incorporated into my life. Um, Start the practice, I can't say the word, of eating when you are 80% full. Okay. I need to work on that. Walk with a group. Last year I was doing 5 and 6 miles during the summer, and I really hope to get back to that too. But there was something I found very interesting, and I need to get myself on a schedule. Actually, with biological stuff, going back to that, I need to get my sleep in order again. My rhythms, circadian rhythm is all off from this year of postings and being online. Um, I used to have this habit, and when I mentioned it to a friend once before, many, many years ago, when my son was a baby, he's now an adult. I don't know, I would find myself waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and I just loved that time. It was quiet, and I would write. That was my time to journal and, just kind of just hang out with myself. Um, I do affirmations now, I do journaling, I do meditations, I do prayer. That's probably where I'd like to do my Bible study. And she had told me it's just a place where I usually get some clarity and where I really kind of work on acceptance and thinking about things and working on those DBT skills. And my friend had mentioned to me, she's like, well, you get up at 4:30. That's like usually an hour and a half before sunrise. And that's called the ambrosial hour. And I guess it's a concept where I know it's used in yoga and Buddhism, possibly. She was a practicing Buddhist. And supposedly, that's where um, there is, here it is, where, here it is. It is seen as a time, she said, for divine whispers and spiritual awakenings. And she said that another word for it is Amrit Vela, the time of nectar, as in, you know, sweet juice, nectar, creativity, productivity, revelation, divine whispers, spiritual awakenings. And I do find there is something very peaceful and beautiful and calm and grounding at that time. So I'm going to get back to that. And I guess the one thing I am going to work on is what I found in exercise. And I'm going to end it here because I really like to keep this simple today. And this book is really excellent. It's very nuanced. It's called The Purpose Checkup. And you read each statement below carefully and take a few moments to decide on a true response for yourself. Then write the number that most reflects that response. So it's divided into having, which is the outer life, doing, which is the inner life, and being, which is the spiritual life. And it has to do with purpose. So having is the dimension of your external experience and activity, how effectively you relate to having choices in your life. So, for example, from zero, can't decide to four, definitely agree. I wake up energized about the day ahead. I feel good about my life and grateful for what I have. I have taken risks to do things I care about. I have found ways to offer my gifts and talents to the world. I'm excited and hopeful about the future. I don't have many regrets about things I haven't done. I go to sleep at night feeling that my day was well lived. So that's having. And then the doing is doing things for others is important to me, and I make time for it. When I have key decisions to make, I focus on what deeply matters to me and let that be my guide. I enjoy being alone. I know what I'm good at, and I use my gifts to make a difference in people's lives. I have the courage to face my adversities. I'm growing and giving. I maintain a balance of saving and savoring the world. Now it's being, the spiritual components, the dimensions of your invisible experience and spiritual activity, how effectively you relate to the being choices in your life. Okay, and these are the elements that I rated. I sense the presence of a higher power. I maintain a consistent spiritual practice. I feel a sense of the sacred when I'm in the natural world. I offer compassion to others readily. I offer forgiveness to others easily. And, without getting, oh, here's the other two. I feel a deep sense of gratitude for my life. I know what I like to be remembered for. And I thought this was also an interesting exercise. Think about this sentence for a moment. From family and friends who knew me when I was very young, I have heard that my, in quote, special gifts are, question, how have these gifts persisted in your life? And this is another key to unlocking purpose. And what I thought is, my answers are a little bit all over the place, and it mostly where I'm not really happy with my answers. It has to do with balance and boundaries that I think I have got to find a way to balance but myself better and balance the four domains and the other domains in terms of vocational, working, all that, family responsibilities and all that good stuff, and boundaries in terms of really being able to enforce boundaries. And the questions that were given to us in very, quick answer, and I'm going to wrap up right now, is, what do what, what do we hope to gain? And for me, what I hope to gain is more clarity, more acceptance, more radical acceptance, to accept things as they are, not as I'd like them to be, or as I wish they'd be, or as I expect them to be. I think I've gained more peace letting go of that kind of stuff. And I want more clarity and more consistency. And I kind of want to gain more clarity so I could better embed the habits of the mind and the body and all the things that I talked, all the goals. The barriers are myself. I mean, ultimately, thank God I still have free agency and capacity. And so I need to focus better. I need to get my ADHD, I think, in better control. And I need to, you know, be able to balance and put some better boundaries. And, I think I like the blue zone idea because I think it puts more life in your years. There used to be this quote, and I think when I think of wholeness, I think of this quote that, maybe by now it's become cliche, but um, I remember when I saw it, I was thinking, at the time we'd be able to do something like that. And it's just gotten so much tougher now. Everything being so much faster, in terms of dance as though no one is watching you, love as though you have never been hurt before, sing as though no one can hear you. And I would not want anyone to hear me. Live as though heaven is on earth. And that's what I think we need to do as social workers is just create community. That's why I came here, to create communities in our life, create spaces and places, whether it's in the dorm, whether it's in the social work building, um, with each other to live our life as fully as we can. And with that said, I thank you for listening and being so patient with me. And I will be also focusing on speaking and writing more succinctly. Take good care. Have wonderful summers. Bye.